Okay, so I'm going to talk about when I first moved in the neighborhood where there were 3 police officers and they have been police there for 20 years and a judge. It was 2 judges. When I first went into their neighborhood and I walked into their home, they gave me the home. They decided to give me that home in Pierce County. I won't say where it was, but they did. I'm going to tell you why every police officer and judge isn't bad. The judge that lived behind me, I had 4 boys. A fight broke out because I had a swimming pool in the back of my yard. Yes, I had a swimming pool in the back of my yard, and a jacuzzi inside the house. I had a really nice house that they had given to me. I didn't have to pay nothing to move in. So everybody ain't racist. So let's just get that out the way. They chose me because the houses that I moved out of and the places I took very good care of. And when I moved out, they were move-in ready. Because I had this thing about the carpet that I just loved the carpet to be spotless. Because I was country, I like laying on the floor when I wanted to think things through. Just some of my things on the carpet. But anyway, let's go on to the story. So, I'll tell you why things are the way they are in a minute. So, a fight broke out at my house because it was a party my kids was having. I didn't know. And the fence was torn down, which was the judge's fence. And after they had tore up everything, the boys, the police didn't come till later. Now, there was one police around the corner. He lived around the corner from me. And it was 2 on the other side. And there was a judge in the back. And there was another judge like up the street. So, when the police came, I said, they tore down the fence. The police said, so what? They're boys. And these were white police, right? This is Pierce County. He said, what you want to do? It's about $1 a board for that fence. Ain't nobody in this neighborhood finna put no charges on them. And they said to me, they said, you got 4 boys to raise. And it's hard for a woman to raise 4 boys alone. So I don't know what you want me to do. I'm going to go back home because those are boys. They're going to do stuff like that. That's what they do. So the fence in the back was broken down, torn all up. And that was to the judge's house. So when I came towards the judge, because he was white, my heart was beating like 100 miles per hour because I was scared. Because, when I got black boys and all the stuff that be on TV. When I got close to that judge, and he was a white guy, he said to me, he said, what you want? What do you think? I'm not finna put no charges on them. I'm not finna put no fines on them that I know you can't pay. And then he told me, he said, you got enough problems of your own. And they got enough problems too because they black boys. And I'm not finna do nothing over no fence that's torn down. But I'm gonna put the fence back up. So I started crying. And he asked me, he said, what you crying for? He said, you thought I was gonna call the police and put all kind of charges on him. He said, I'm not gonna do that. He said, those are black boys. They boys right now. They teenagers. I don't need to put no charges and felonies on them. For what? They got enough problems. And I just kept crying. I couldn't stop crying. He said, it's gonna be all right. He said, they just doing what boys do. And he said to me, and this was a judge, he said that they smoke weed in the yard. He said, but you thought because I was a white judge, I was going to call the police and do like all of that. He said, I'm not finna do that either. He said, because they doing the same thing white boys would do at their age. They all do the same thing because they boys. He said, but the difference is those are black boys. And he said, and I'm not finna put no bunch of charges on them. I couldn't stop crying, you guys, because everything that I had saw on the news, I was living in the neighborhood with a judge, a white judge, and 4 police officers in Pierce County. That's how they treated me and my boys. They didn't put no felons on them or nothing like that. They didn't. The judge, he told me, you're going to have enough problems in life, and I'm not going to be one of them. And I stayed in that neighborhood. They gave that house to me. They even gave me a welcoming gift when I first moved in the house. But I'm going to go back to my past. When I was 24, I used to give a lot of things to people, houses, cars, furniture, because I tried to bring them to God. from being kind-hearted, and I met a Tacoma police officer. And that's when he told me, because I was going to give this lady everything that was in my basement because I wanted her to go to church with me. He stopped me. He said, "You can't give everybody everything. And I know you love God. And I know you be in church all the time." He said, "But you just can't give everybody everything. Some things you got to keep for yourself." And then he showed me how to start my own business. So I started my own business for the first time when I was 24 years old, because a Tacoma police officer was showing me how to do stuff and make money for my children, because I was getting ready to go through a divorce with my husband. So I started my first business, and I made about $2,000. And he came back to make sure that I got all my money and everything that I was supposed to get, because he had wrote down how things would go, because he was showing me how to do things and stuff like that. And that's how I started my first business. But I stayed in church. I just couldn't let go of church. It was like an addiction to me. And it wasn't about the people or the preacher. It was about me really loving God, because I really did love God. That I would use up all my time with God when I was there. And what I mean by all my time, I would worship God with everything I had in my mind, body, soul, and spirit. So that's what I mean. And he knew that about me, that I just like church. So he showed me how to start my own business and make money with what I had. A Tacoma police officer. He retired a long, long time ago, because this was like way in the early 90s. But he was a very good friend, because in 2002, he was showing me how to make money, and I think I made like $20,000-$30,000 or something like that, and I had hired somebody. And the lady that I had hired, she had put checks in my name and my daughter's name, and she was using our identity, and she stole like $10,000 from me. And the Tacoma police officer that helped me start my business, he went and knocked on her door and told her that she had better give it back. And he also asked her why was she using my name and my daughter's name. She had a checking account in my daughter's name and my name, and he stopped her from doing that. And you know what's the trip about it? She came to church and started crying over what she had did, because she never knew that he helped me start the business. She never knew. And then he even hooked me up with some people like that work for Windermeyer and stuff, that where I can do other business transaction with them when it comes to properties and homes. She didn't know that either, but when she stole that money from me and used my identity, she found out. And she gonna come to church and start crying and say she was sorry, because see, I didn't tell everybody everything, because he came to my house and he set up papers and stuff and showed me how to start my own business. That's why I know all cops aren't bad, because they got some pretty good Tacoma cops. But they've been retired like long time ago, before this nutcase generation and then cracked out of the shell came out. So that's my story.